Greetings and welcome to this episode of Leadership Matters, a video interview series highlighting the stories and experiences of global leaders and providing valuable leadership lessons for our audience. The series is hosted by the dynamic Avinash Ananda, world's leading leadership and happiness master coach. Over the course of 30 years, Avinash has mentored more than 1,000 leaders and trained more than 1 million individuals from all walks of life in 30 countries. Our guest for today's episode is Ms. Shalini Rao, Chief Marketing Officer at Bangalore International Airport. What makes Shalini an influential voice in Asia as a woman leader is her expertise in the marketing domain. She has worked with big brands such as Taj Group, Tetra Pak, Mars, Gillette, Marico, McKinsey & Company in various leadership roles where she brought a holistic business perspective to the table.
Welcome, viewers, to this episode with Shalini Rao. Shalini is who I'm speaking to today. She's the guest on our show, Leadership Matters. I keep telling you that there are interesting, intelligent, inspiring individuals who we talk to on the show. In the show, Shalini is absolutely amazing. She blew me away in that 5-minute conversation that I had with her, and I'm sure you will love to interact with her because she's a bundle of paradoxes. A corporate professional a senior leadership position. And look at her arm. Can you please show that, Shalini? Look at this tattoo. Okay? She could be like a rock star. No? I mean, I thought I was the crazy one to do these kind of things, no? With the long hair and all this stuff. And then I go and teach Harvard as a Harvard professor.
I am a rock star like you, right? I get to be a rock star.
You are fantastic. You are fantastic. I love the fact that you can be, like a lotus in a muddy pond. Where you don't let the mud of the pond affect who you are as a lotus. Just as an analogy, but I'm talking about you being yourself and not and still commanding the respect that you need to have through your professionalism. How do you do that, and what is it that makes you be bold enough to be yourself? Although being yourself seems to be like the normal thing to do, how else can you be, right? And people anyway see through who you are. So why hide? But what makes you you, Shalini?
What makes me me is, I'd say, two things specifically. One is the background with which I grew up. I come from a family of I'm a hybrid child, as I call myself. My dad was from the South, and my mom was from Northwest Frontier. And in the 60s, they met and kind of married each other, and that was quite a revolution at that point in time. But I grew up with the belief that's question everything. Don't accept things for what they are. And
when you say South, I'm so sorry for interrupting you. You said South, you mean South Indian? She was
dad was from Karnataka, and
dad was from Karnataka. Okay.
Mom was from pre-partition Pakistan, so Lahore. Traditionally, family came from there. They moved after partition to Delhi.
Right.
But yes, so the
Punjabi or Sindhi or what?
Punjabi.
Punjabi, okay.
Mom Punjabi, dad Kannadiga.
Okay. Wow. What
a Madhava Brahmin met a Kshatriya. So if you go back to the way India looks at things, yes.
So chaos, opposition, conflict, huh?
Oh, completely. And they stood through that. And for me, that's part of what makes me who I am. The ability to stand up without fear for who I am and not apologize for it. And I've learned that from my parents. Clearly learned that from both my parents. So that was clearly one thing. The second thing that I think shapes me and has made me who I am today, and is the Shalini that you're seeing, is my strong root in spirituality, which makes me build myself up from a very underconfident human being at several stages of my life to not apologizing for who I am today. And I live with what that means. So
Mhm.
I don't know if I answered your question.
Mhm. No, you answered my question and you figured a whole lot more. See, and I kind of resonate with this because I know my parents are also pre-partition parents, although they didn't go through that kind of conflict because
Mm.
both of them are from the same community. But the effect that that has, so there's but is lasts, beyond generations.
Oh, yes,
But you had conflict after conflict, no? Not only
correct.
was there partition conflict, then there was the conflict of the communities, and so
Yeah.
it's almost like that. I mentioned in another show, the Samudra Manthan.
Yeah,
When there is conflict, what arises out of that is usually a nectar, huh? And you are the
correct.
nectar that we see, Shalini, as a result of that conflict. Hmm?
You also learn to be stable as a result of that
Yeah,
conflict,
yeah,
because you learn how to compartmentalize and create an aura of calm around yourself to
sure.
deal with that conflict. So I think that's the other one that came out of all the manthan that I have experienced.
Right, that's beautiful. Two questions come to my mind, Shalini. You can
Yeah.
answer whichever one whenever. One is, what are the other conflicts that have happened through the life where this conflict or your foundation of being able to face it helped you? Uh, this is one question. The other question that comes to mind is this, connected with what you just said. You started off as with lack of confidence, and today you're unapologetically, boldly, authentically honest and powerful. Are these also connected? Have these conflicts helped in that, in for making you more powerful, more strong?
I would say yes, and then I'll go backward into why I
Sure,
say
sure.
yes. Absolutely have. I think I wouldn't be where I am today if I had not learned the resilience to go through some of those conflicts. So, one was the conflict of childhood to see, grandparents not exactly being accepted into the Brahmin side of things, and a little bit discrimination, things you're allowed to do and not allowed to do. That became a little bit of the theme because when you went through school, when you went through college, I'm a very straightforward person. I speak my mind. Um, Not exactly very often accepted in Indian society from a woman. I'll add both those elements. And so we tend to couch things, we tend to not say things the way they are. And because I said it the way it is, I often was not necessarily very popular for it. And yet, at the same breath, I also had a strong listening ear. So I was also agony aunt right through my entire life till date. So again, a bunch of interesting paradoxes that I've had to grow up with. And in that keeps coming up this question of, do you want to stand up for who you are, or do you want to morph into something else? And I think I've always ended up trying to stand up for who I am. Switch schools. Dad moved a lot of cities, and a different form of conflict, but needed resilience because
Sure.
most kids grow from, maybe class 1 to class 10 in the same school. I've changed schools,
Mm, mm,
changed cities, changed education systems. So, therefore,
mm,
making friends over and over again,
mm,
not having that rootedness of, hey, I grew up with the same bunch of people.
mm,
That also forces you to maybe create your own identity
mm,
and hold on to it, because maybe that's the only thing that's certain in the uncertain world that you're jumping
mm,
around in.
mm,
And so that helped. And of course, as you went along at work, realized much later as I got in that I'm a woman in a man's world. So I spent the first 17 years of my career in FMCG, where I was usually the only woman in the room at various levels of growth, or when you went out into the market. And that brings its own share of conflict, what to say, what not to say, how to act, the expectations, including should you be having a drink, should you not? Till what time should you stay? Till what time should you leave? And while the environment was always supportive, but that conflict also. And of course, later, failed marriage, also a conflict. and just learning to identify who you are. And a word that people don't often speak about, and I'd like to. I discovered therapy about, I'd say, 10 years ago, and my God, it changed my life.
Yeah.
We don't talk often enough about it. We talk about physical health, we don't talk about mental health,
Mental health. Yeah.
but I understood how powerful those tools are and how you could change through it. So, yes, all of those. Long answer to your two
No,
questions.
that's super. That's super. It's powerful answer. Uh, uh, and this being a good listener. So listen, the word LISTEN also has another thing in it, which is SILENT. You know,
Right.
so I see, I see a very. You spoke about stability, no? Uh,
Mm.
so that stillness, that stability, which comes also by working on yourself, whether
Yes.
it is therapy, whether it is your own reflection. You've got all the qualities of being a great coach. You've done something in that field,
Yes, I have. I
helping
actually
others.
went halfway through getting certified as a coach and then
Lovely.
joined back my career, so couldn't complete it. But I am a certified emotional intelligence coach. I have
Sure.
done work in NLP. I have also coached and assessed leaders across the world for 4 years when I was on my own.
Good.
It's a strong belief system I have that we don't, I've seen this in the corporate world. When you grow, there aren't enough people holding your hand when you grow. You don't come with the roadmap. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily know what's needed. And very often you're chucked into the deep end and said, okay, now sink or swim, figure it out. And
Mm,
just that little bit of help that takes you through,
mm.
I would have loved to have it. And over time, I have got it from different people. And so, yes, coaching is something that I've got onto, and I do even informally with my team. That's the one thing I do consistently.
I believe every leader, if he's a
Absolutely
good, she's
must.
a good leader, is
Yeah,
a coach. No, or every
yeah,
manager should be a
yeah.
coach. No? I think
Correct.
that's brilliant. Shalini, so many things about you, Shalini. Um, uh, what is it that uh, was difficult for you as a woman? I heard a very interesting story earlier from Sarman that you were offered an award as a as one of the world's or Asia's best marketers, and you turned that award down. And later, when you were offered an award as Asia's top woman leader, you accepted that award. Why? What is the belief behind that? What is the logic behind that?
My belief and logic comes from my own journey a little bit, particularly over the last 7, 8 years,
Uh-huh.
where I feel, yes, I don't for a minute put down my professional qualification.
Sure.
I'm a quintessential marketer at heart. I'm always looking for insights, always looking for how can I work with a certain person, what's going on in their brain. But I'm passionate about being a woman leader. And I feel that those of us, women leaders who've made the kind of levels and the positions that we have, owe it to the rest of the world to stand out there and show ourselves, to show up, and actually show the way as well by doing that. Most
Mhm.
often, and interestingly, though I gave you the background, I grew up with a mom who told me women are seen, not heard. The same mother. So
Mm,
there's an
mm,
interesting contradiction there.
mm, mm,
She
mm,
taught me to be independent and that I must work, but she
mm,
also said this to me. So we grow up with that. Women grow up with hearing that. And I've heard this from many women.
mm.
Though, so they don't sit in the front of the boardroom seats. They don't talk as often. And my thing now that I've got to this point, and that's why I said yes, this award I will apply for, because I want to be that person that inspires at least, even if I inspire one person, that I can get there and I can do this. Absolutely, that's the reason.
This is Asia's top
Hundred
woman
women,
leader award. Yeah,
100
100
women,
top
yeah,
100 women leader.
women
What is
lead.
your belief about women? Do you think men come in the way of women's growth at times at the workplace? What's your
Controversial question.
yeah? What it is?
Um,
I'm like that.
I will give you a semi-controversial answer. I won't be politically correct.
Sure.
Um,
As long as it's honest.
it is honest, absolutely.
Sure.
With me, that's the one thing that's guaranteed.
Thank you.
Always. Men, I have found men to be incredibly supportive. Let me start by saying that. I
Thank you,
wouldn't have
man.
reached some of the positions I've reached without having that background, the support, a bunch of men who understand and who help you along because you need that support. Anybody does, right? A man does
Sure,
what he
sure,
does.
sure.
But yes, a lot of men kind of look at you like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Your role is something else. You're supposed to be home. Why are you fighting for a role which you will either give up if you get married or if you have kids, or you're not? You can't possibly be serious about a career. So, unfortunately, one has met a lot of them who also objectify you, and I will leave it at that because there is also that part of it that you go through. So, you do meet, and I have met both, right? I thank the Lord that I have met the supportive ones, so I've not given up. But yeah, the other ones exist, they get in your way. But I have learned one thing, like you learn with schoolyard bullies, speak up and stick to your point, and you'll get through. You'll get through with the kind that are asking you questions. Because if you fall, it's because you're weak inside somewhere. I call it giving the remote control of your life to somebody else. Why give it to somebody else?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Keep it with you. They will question, but
It's
don't
not
let them.
easy, no? Not easy, no?
Oh, not easy at all. Oh, there. I mean, I've gone home crying on occasions. I have felt horrible. I have wanted to fight, but I think that's where both the therapy and the spirituality have helped me to
Right.
be able to understand how to respond. This is, I think, the biggest thing I learned in the last 10 years.
Brilliant, brilliant,
Respond, not react.
brilliant.
So think before you speak. So
Super,
yes.
super. Um, Something is forming in my mind about you, Shalvi. So while that forms,
Mhm,
share something else about yourself, please. You've been in different, diverse industries,
mhm.
um, but you are you. Huh? It's
Correct.
like reminds me of that same thing you spoke about, where you said you've been to so many different schools, you've been, traveling all the time. So the only thing that you could hang on to or
Is
be
you.
stable about is who you are. Huh? Your field has always been marketing, or
My
has that
field
field
has
also been
been
changing? You've been in
no
FMCG.
always
You've been right now. You're with the infrastructure, right? They read on your
airport.
profile. You're with
Yeah,
the Bangalore airport. You're handling that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
what? Little bit about that, please.
So I think what's that attitude of learning to be the lotus in multiple muddy ponds if necessary.
They're all
Uh,
money.
uh, Not all, absolutely not. But to learn to be the lotus, you need to swim through. You need to build your credibility.
Yes.
And I think, like I decided I was this person, my profession and what I know is the other part of what I do at work. So, therefore, I could pick myself up across consumer products, across consulting, across hospitality, infrastructure, and I can plug and play because of my core belief in my function. I
Mm,
believe very strongly in marketing and what we can do. And so, therefore, I'm always able to see how it can apply itself
mm, mm,
across.
mm,
And
mm.
I would say that's what's defined my success, the
Plug and
willingness
play.
to adapt, plug and play and adapt.
I mean
You
that.
can't
Right.
always plug and play and say, hey, this is me
Yeah.
and I have to fit in. No, you have to adapt, you have to modify and
Right.
then fit in. You cannot just muddy up the waters and say, oh, this is me. I'm going to be square peg in round hole. That won't work.
What? See, NLP. The one of the creators of NLP, Dr. Richard Bandler. I've been very fortunate to be mentored by him.
Okay.
He's one of the people who mentored me. I've been lucky to be mentored by some amazing human beings on this planet, huh? Masters in their fields. So hmm, EQ, NLP are two gharanas. They're like
Mhm.
uh, schools of thought,
Correct.
with their own tradition behind it. Huh? Like
Absolutely.
that, then you say when you spoke about spirituality, that could be another one. And then within that, there could be so many different streams.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
what is the core belief system that you have that that has worked for you, for you to handle yourself? Is it this one that respond, don't react? Is that the main thing, or is there anything else?
Respond. So I follow a large part of the Buddhist philosophy in terms of the way I work. So, which is where the NLP comes, which is where the respond, don't react comes. But I'll change it slightly to
Sure.
resilience mode, and I think that
Wow.
makes me a lot more who I am, which is you can be whatever you want to be, just be, don't go up and down, and then when you're in that state you will respond, you will never react. And that's
Okay.
for me who I am. It's like the flowing water. You can go through anywhere, you will hit
I
obstacles, you will hit
Yeah.
whatever, but you make your own path. So which is why I follow all the philosophies that you speak about. So I
Sure.
don't have one way. I don't like getting locked in.
Right.
So it's not one way. So there is a little NLP, there is spiritualism, there's Buddhism, there's all of it. And somewhere that becomes how I live my life.
Lovely, lovely. Bruce Lee would be proud of you. Huh? Yeah,
Incredibly talented and strong mastery of the mind.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You talking about Bruce Lee or yourself?
Yes, Bruce Lee.
That's good. That's good.
And myself. Why not?
Why not? Why not? So here's something. I put it together right now after listening to you. It'll be interesting for the viewers too. Would you write it down? Do you have a pen, paper, or do you use more of
Yeah,
technology
sure.
stuff? Huh?
I have
Okay.
what?
Yeah.
Mhm.
SHALINI. Okay. I got something. And if I forget something, help me along the way.
Okay.
Maybe the viewers can help me. S is strength. Yeah,
Okay. Mhm.
immense strength, Shalini,
Mhm.
which built over time by facing, not only facing conflicts but going through them. Uh, um, Amazing. H is helping. You have a helping nature. So when I say help, I'm saying HELP, high energy level participation.
Mhm.
It's not just a helping as a somebody superior helping an inferior, but
Mhm.
it's no levels. It's just support. Not only have you been open to taking support, you talk about therapy, you talk about mental health. In every platform, if you're going to talk about this, you're going to make a change in society. You're going to make a change in people's way of giving and accepting support.
Right.
I've seen that throughout whatever you've said. That's H. A is adaptability or adaptive, uh, super adaptive. Huh? Put you in any situation, you will use the strengths of your plug and play that you've built over the years, but at the same time, you'll customize it to that particular organization or the need of the hour. This is how we do our training, by the way. Huh? We've got a beautiful plug and play system, and then we customize it to different
Yeah.
industries.
Yeah.
Then L is learnability. Huh? It's
Okay.
not that you remain where you are and just plug and play and adapt, but you're always growing and learning, no matter what situation you're in. Super. Essentially, L, I is identity. Hmm? You are who you are, and that who you are is your core, which allows you to just be. As you just said, you want to be. That's the core of your philosophy. How can you be if you don't know who to be? So you are you. That is
Mhm.
identity. Fantastic. N, I was scratching my head for, and I still am a little bit because I don't keep anything in my head. I'm downloading it from somewhere else, the cloud or something. N, I would say is natural. Huh? I got that with your Bruce Lee thing. Huh? I got that with your go with the flow, fit into whatever the container that is available. Or as Heraclitus said, you can never put your feet in the same river twice because everything is changing all the time.
Changing all the time.
But you're natural.
Yes.
It's beautiful. And the last I had it is gone. Can you help me?
Uh, You've got identity, you've got natural,
What is
innovation.
it about Shalini that we're leaving out?
None of them start with I.
Give me one. I'll make it with I.
Okay. So I'm a traveler. I'm a gypsy soul at heart. I'm always moving. And I'm never still. While my name is Charlene and it means stillness, and I am calm, and I'm all of those, but there is a restlessness of the soul. I'm a gypsy. I
So,
keep
so I felt that. I felt that, and I wanted to put something about you, which is about the future,
Mm,
because with these kind of qualities, you never know what tomorrow will bring you. huh?
yes.
And that I could be like an inquiry, or that I could be like introspection, that I could be like inquisitiveness. Okay, I don't know. We can choose one of them, but this is about here's to reinventing. You reinvented everything else in your life. Here's to reinventing Shalini tomorrow. So if you have one more interview with her or one more conversation with Shalini, it will be extremely different because she'll be a different person.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Lovely, lovely
And that's
talking
the
with you,
beauty.
Shalini.
Same here. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have a good time?
Absolutely.
Great,
I've
great.
never seen such a lovely description of myself. So thank you for
There
that.
you go. Put it up on the board or something. Keep it
I
there.
will.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.